So today I'm going to work on my 2003 Ford Excursion. I'm replacing the rear brakes and rotors. I did one side already, the passenger side, but now I'm going to replace the driver's side with the rotor that needs to be there and the brakes. So we're putting a performance braking rotor versus the stock factory standard brakes and rotor. Give me a minute, let me jack this bad boy up, and we'll be back. Okay, so this is what we have. I took the wheel off. All right. These are the rotors here. They need changing. They're pretty thin. The brakes are shot. So in order to take the rotor off, you gotta, the brakes off first, you gotta take these caliper screws off. Okay, and then you pull your caliper out. I'm going to spray some WD on here, WD-40. Okay, like I did some already, but I'm going to put a little more. It makes it a little easier to get the rotor off. The rotor's probably been on here for 20 years. I don't know. I said this is a 2003. Give me a minute, and I'll show you the rest. Okay, since I'm changing the rotors and the brakes, I'm going to take a big, hefty, flathead screwdriver. I don't know if you can see, but I'm going to go in between the brake and the rotor right there. I'm going to bang this in. And that's going to allow me to push the caliper in. Okay? I'm going to push it in, and it's going to let me push the caliper all the way back. Okay? This way, this will come off easier, as well as the caliper is almost pushed all the way in. So give me a minute, I'll show you the rest. So like I said, once the screwdriver's in, you bend your screwdriver facing out. That will push the caliper in. Okay? Now the caliper is probably all the way pushed in. Now there's one at the bottom too. So, gotta push that one in. So now the caliper is pushed in. Okay, I'm going to use a C-clamp at the end. Well, let me see. I'll use one more screwdriver, so I won't have to use a C-clamp. You can do them at the same time because it has two calipers. Now it's probably pushed all the way in. So give me a second. I'm gonna pull this whole caliper off. And well, the piston. This allows the pistons to go in. So I'm going to pull this caliper off, and I'll show you the rest. Give me a second. The top screw here, that top screw right there is coming off, and this one right here on the bottom. Okay, that one right there. That will allow me to take this caliper all the way off. Give me a second. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to put a ratchet on it, a 12mm socket. Okay, this is the one I'm going with. It works great. I have a 3.5 ton jack, and I'm gonna bring it down. Give me a second, get my gloves on. It's not a lot of tools involved in doing this. I use a hammer. That helps me break some of the stuff that's over tightened. Give me a second, I'll be back. Like I said, you want to loosen this top and bottom. Well, not loosen, but loosen it and take it all the way out. Okay, this will allow you to take the caliper all the way off. Set those to the side. I don't know why they put this cable here. That's for your emergency brake. But boy, it is in the way. It is always in the way. It's in the worst place. So I'm going to just use the socket without the ratchet to turn this bolt and get it all the way out. Now you might want to put your hand on the caliper so the caliper doesn't drop out and hit you if you're working on the ground like myself. Okay, so now the caliper is going to come out with ease. Boom. And if you look, the pistons are all the way in. They're flush, which makes it easier once you go to put the fresh new brakes on. And I like to sit my caliper right there without messing with my brake line, because you'll be all messed up, mess up that brake line. Now we're going to take off this bracket right here. That will allow me to take off this rotor. This rotor is going to be a pain in the neck, so that's why we put the WD-40 on it. I'm going to spray a little more in a second, but if you look right here, this bolt right here and this bolt right here, these are the bolts that you have to use. You have to remove that one and this one, and that allows this bracket to come off, and then you could take this rotor all the way off. Give me a second, let me get this thing loose. Okay guys, I forgot to mention the tool I'm using is a ratchet, okay, 1/2 inch drive, and the size is, let's see, for this one, I don't know if you can see it, this is a 18 millimeter. For this back screw to take off this caliper bracket, it's an 18 millimeter. So I put a drop of WD-40. It's really hard to break and crack, so I like to use my hammer just to give my ratchet a tap. Okay, I've got to put the phone down so I can tap it, loosen it, and then that's it. It goes in the down direction to loosen it on the driver's side. Right, give me a second. Okay, well, the tap with the hammer didn't work, so I'm going to use my breaker bar, my extension to my extra jack. Okay, it makes it longer. All I got to do is kind of like press it down, and as you can see, it's turning. Okay, now it's loose. Okay, same with the one up top, and I'm going to use the extension on the one up top because this wire or cable is in the way. So give me a second, and let me get this set up and I'll show you. Okay, so we're going to do the same with the top. I put the socket on the bolt, ratchet, bar extension, and just press it down a couple times, it'll start to turn. No stress. All right, and once you get those loosened, we don't want that to happen. With this truck being so old, it's big and strong, those brake lines are, you know, they're prone to snapping if that caliper drops. So you gotta be real careful. Don't be like me. Be just like me. But yeah, if you notice, this whole bar is moving now, and the whole pad is still attached. But yeah, this is it. Real simple. Not even using power tools. Okay, give me a second, I'll get this off and I'll be back. Now, once you get those loosened, okay, the whole thing falls out. It will just fall straight down. Okay, and you take it out, now your rotor is all the way exposed. Now here's the fun part. My rotor is frozen onto this axle, whatever this thing is called. But I'm gonna have to give it a couple taps to get it out. What I like to do is use my mallet, tap it around a few times. This way it'll break the rust, it'll break the corrosion. This rotor is actually going in the trash, so I'm not trying to save it. It's a big old truck with big old truck parts. So give me a second, let me get this drum off, this rotor off, and I'll show you the rest. Okay, now once you get it loose, you can just pull it, take it off. right, give me a second and I'll be back. I'm gonna show you what we're gonna replace them with. Okay, I'm back. So I'm gonna replace these, which are the factory rotors for this V10 Excursion, and I'm putting these performance rotors by Auto Shack. They say premium performance. They're pretty good. I put them on my Escalade before. I had no problems. So I'm going with them on this Excursion. It's going to definitely enhance the stopping power. And let's get these on here. Give me a second. So installation is fairly easy. You just put them on the same way you took them off. Okay. Just slide them on here. Line them up. Look for the holes. And that's it. A little push. Hope I can get in there. Alright, give me a second. Okay, so like I say, you just push them in. They're really easy. Make sure your emergency brake is off when you go to do it. Otherwise, you'll never get these on. See, they just slide in. That's it. Now, you get to this thing. Okay. It holds the caliper, also keeps the rotor in place. So we're going to put this back on and wrap this up. It shouldn't take you no more than 20-30 minutes at the most to do a full braking rotor on a Ford Excursion. Give me a second. Okay, so this is where, like I said, we screw this caliper bracket back in. Okay, it just sits like this. You just have to line up the holes in the back to where it was before. But give me a second, I can't hold the phone and screw it in. This is the caliper bracket, and this is the top screw, and this is the bottom screw. I'm doing it with one hand, so I'm pretty sure you can do it too. It's not really difficult. Caught it right. What a beautiful look. Give me a second, let me tighten these bolts up back here so I get this caliper bracket tight. I'll be back. Also remember, when tightening them down, they got to be real tight. These hold this rotor on. So I'm going to put something on here so I can tighten it down. I don't have a torque ratchet, but I'll tighten it out. So tightening is pulling it up. Okay. I guess counterclockwise would be the word. This is not tight. You start driving, it's gonna be real bad. So let me tighten this up. I'll be back. Now here comes the fun part. We gotta put the brake pads on. Old brake pads, new brake pads. Old, new. What a difference. I basically had no brakes. Wait, yeah, I didn't have any. They were gone. So grease up your pads real good. Okay. I like to put grease everywhere. This way I know they're not going to squeak. And this is a high temperature grease. You can use the brake grease they sell in the auto store. I just happen to have this. So this is what I'm using. Okay. I've been using it for years. It does the job. So all the parts of the brake on the outer part are greased. You fit it to the caliper. Hold on, let's see. That's in. I got one more and we're done. What a difference. And these are ceramic. These are ceramic brake pads. I guess they're supposed to last a little longer. A little better than the semi-metallic. That's it. Now you take your caliper, pop your caliper in, and I'm doing this with one hand. That's it. Put your screw in the top. Yeah, my glove broke. Should have left the good gloves on. That's it. That's how it's gonna look. Tighten the top one. Tighten the bottom. Okay. If you look, this has an angle to it, so it stays in place. But yeah, once you tighten this down, you can put your brakes on. I mean your wheel on. There's my wheel. Okay, put your wheel back on, and that's pretty much it. Pump up your brakes with the car off. Don't do it with the car on. Okay, pump up your brakes, do 10 times, and then start your car, pump them again, and you're ready to roll. Give me a second, I'll show you what it's like when it's done. Make sure these are tight, but don't tighten them where they snap off, because they will snap on you. Now you do the bottom. This is that 12mm socket. I said if you over tighten it, you can snap it off. So you kind of got to just feel. I said I don't have the torque ratchet that you can use to do this. I'm a home mechanic, backyard mechanic as they call them. So I just feel it out, make sure it's real tight. It's worked for me for many years. But yeah, that's it. It's done. Just like you went to the shop. Nice and neat, clean. Give me a second, let me get the tire on. And put the tire on. Like I said, I'm gonna pump the brakes 10 times with the car off. Then I'm gonna pump the brakes with it on, and that's it. I'm using a 3.5 ton jack. Normally I would use the jack under the rear differential, but this time I went right under the axle area, and I use a safety tripod as well, just in case. And then I like to keep my tire underneath in case this thing falls. But I've never dropped one, but you know, safety is important. Give me a second, let me get the wheel on. Well, that's it. It's on there. And these are only tools we used. Okay, we replaced that rotor. I used a Napa jack, 3.5 ton hammer, some bearing, great high temperature disc drum, wheel bearing grease. This is my pole. I actually took this off of another jack that I had. My ratchet. This little extension. These are all 1/2-inch tools. These two sockets, 12mm, 18mm, and a big screwdriver, flathead. You can use a C-clamp to push your caliper in. I just find it to be too much work. So that's it. Tripod, extra safety. We done. Rotor's done. Brake is done. Looks clean. You can see him in there. I'm working in the dark at night, so had a long day. Truck's a little dirty, but it's mine. It's clean. It's paid for. Got some things I'm gonna do to it. Plan on getting it painted soon. I changed the headlights, put the newer headlight on it. Put a light in the grill. I'll show it to you in the day once it's a little clean. And this is a 4-wheel drive V10 Excursion, by the way. And that's it. Brake job is done. Rotors are done. Both sides in the rear. If you're curious to what size tires these are 33 by 12.5 R20, and they're a mud tire. I didn't do a lift, but as you can see, it works out real good. They scraped a little bit on the inside for a while, but the tires have wore down a little, so they don't really scrape anymore on the inside. That's it. Catch you next time.